one more person.
Yeah.
All right, you can start the meeting now.
Okay, it's 5 o'clock. Time to get started. Commissioner Stewart, would you lead us in invocation and pledge?
Please. Please stand and join us. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come and serve the citizens of our county. Lord, I just ask that you give us clarity of mind and wisdom tonight as we deal with the business of the county. I just ask that you bless each one here. I ask that you bless our county, our state, and our nation, Lord. And we ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. We have numerous opportunities for you to speak tonight. If you want to speak to the commission, fill out a card and speak and give it to Miss Patty over here. Our citizens to be heard, there's a 3-minute time limit, and there's no interaction with the commission. There's no back and forth, so remember that when you come up. Approval of the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, we have one add-on item, the pretrial detention services contract extension, and we'd like to add that onto the consent agenda.
Approved with that on.
Second.
Did you want?
I would, thank you. I would like to see if we could add my item onto the consent agenda also. It's the economic development workshop to be held on April 15th.
Okay.
Yep, modify my motion.
Modify your second?
Is there any problem with that? You act like you want to say something. You okay? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Anyone here to speak on it?
I was just going to ask Commissioner Messerschmidt to pull her.
Oh. Thank you.
There we go.
I'm fine with that. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Citizens to be heard? Okay, we go to awards and presentations. First up is Rachel Pienta. Dr. Rachel Pienta.
Thank you, Commissioners. Tonight, I have members of Wakulla 4-H here and several of our board members. I want to thank our board chair, Greg James, and our vice chair, Quincy Messersmith, and we also have our board member, Verna Brock, with us tonight as well. And then we've got several 4-H parents and members, and the members have asked that the Board of County Commissioners approve a proclamation. We would like to celebrate the history of Wakulla during Wakulla Wonderful Week, which would encompass the birthday of Wakulla County on March 11th. We'd like to invite you to a birthday party on the courthouse lawn at 6 p.m. on Monday, a week from tonight. There'll be birthday cake and music and festivities, and hopefully a proclamation that you all have approved. And the children would like to read it for you.
Hello, my name is Ashton Dollar. I am part of the Wakulla County 4-H Chicken Champs. And this is the Wakulla County Proclamation declaring March 10th through 16th, 2019 as Wakulla Wonderful Week. Whereas the land we know as Wakulla County has an extensive and rich history dating as far back as the Palo-Indian period as approximately 12,000 BC to its more recent territorial history from the early 1500s to the 1800s. And whereas Wakulla County's 4-H history continued as it was formed as Florida's 23rd country by the Florida legislature on 4-H March 11th, 1843. And whereas March 11th, 2019 as the 176th anniversary of Wakulla County as a county of the great state of Florida.
Hello, I'm Alexis Green, and I'm a member of the Chicken Champs Club. Whereas the citizens of Wakulla County, like the many people who came here before them, recognize the wonderful natural characteristics and bounty of Wakulla County, from its many springs, rivers, and bays to its coastal marshes and upland forests. And whereas the citizens of Wakulla County recognize the wonderful attributes of Wakulla County as providing a wonderful place to live, to worship, to work, to go to school, to raise a family, and to recreate. And whereas the Wakulla County 4-H program is supported by the University of Florida IFAS Extension Office by the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners to educate and promote growth among the citizens of Wakulla County. I'm Brooklyn Green, and I'm a member of the Wakulla County Chicken Champs. Whereas head, heart, hands, and health are the 4 H's in 4-H, and they are the 4 values members agree to live by and uphold in the 4-H pledge to serve their community. Whereas the Wakulla County 4-H dedicated employees, members, and volunteers want to recognize the wonderfulness of Wakulla County. Now therefore the Wakulla County Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim March 10 through 16, 2019 as Wakulla Wonderful Week and call upon all citizens to recognize and express their appreciation for the wonderful place we call home, Wakulla County, Florida.
Excellent.
Thank you.
It's under consent. I'm sure it'll pass.
Y'all did a great job. Y'all should come
job.
up here and take our seats
Yeah.
and let us sit out there.
Exactly.
Good
Well,
job.
We are growing new leaders.
Yes, good job.
Good job. Next, we have a presentation from Alan Richardson.
Hello.
Hello.
How you guys doing? We got a little PowerPoint presentation for you, and I've got the little clicker here. Thanks, Patty. What we're asking for, and we're here from the Organization of Artificial Reefs. We've re-permitted the Marker 24 barge area. Our most recent reef in Wakulla County was in 2016 at the City of St. Mark's, but we've recently we've come to work with you guys on re-permitting Marker 24, and we've obtained that permit. This is just a short little blurb on what we do and how we're set up. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we've been in existence since '85. And our job is mainly just to help the local coastal communities like Franklin, Wakulla County, Taylor County in the past with the permitting, the grants and plans and deployment activities, the dives and everything that goes into building artificial reef. We do it on behalf of the county. This is a map of the existing reefs in Wakulla County, and I don't know if you can see some of those. We've re-permitted the St. Mark's Reef in 2016. We filled it up, and we just we're working on re-permitting the Dog Ballard Reef. You can see it over to the right. And we re-permitted Marker 24, which is the grant that we're applying for this year. And here's a history of the ones we've got and the issue date of the permit and if they're active or inactive. So you might recognize some of those in Wakulla County. The Marker 24 barge that we're working on now is located here, and you can see St. Mark's in Lightning Bay, Panacea over to the right. This is a history of Marker 24. We applied for a permit renewal back in 2017, and Dave and Cherie worked with us to sign the permit application. And then we got held up by these new regulations that the Corps of Engineers came up with where, I won't go into the whole thing, but Bill Horn can tell you, they were requiring us to cut fishing line off the underwater reefs, which is ridiculous, and we didn't agree to, so that held us up a little bit. I don't know how we would do that, but anyway, we didn't agree to it, so we finally got the permit in 2018. This is just a map of how far it is. It's basically 11 miles from the #1 buoy out of St. Mark's. That's the one to the right. The left line is from Panacea Harbor. It's about 13 and a half miles to Marker 24 from there. This is what we're planning on doing, and this is what we're coming to you guys for tonight. Is we have to have a host community to hold the permit, which you do for Marker 24, and we also have to have your approval to apply for a grant. We're applying for a $60,000 grant from FWC to build an artificial reef at Marker 24. Our deadline is March 29th of this month. The only cost to the county would be for the advertisement, for the RFP. We have to advertise for the contractors. We're assuming all the other cost of this, our engineering that we're paying for. We raised money from the Glenn Peel family. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He was a diver that died a couple of years ago. He was from Shell Point. They raised some money. We're putting that into the mix as well. If we are approved of the grant, and it's about a 50-50 shot, right, Bill, based on the years past. We didn't get one for Franklin County last year, but we're applying in Franklin and Wakulla this year. But if we're approved, then you can see the deadline of we have about a year to put it in the water, and we've got. And as I was talking about Dog Ballard Reef, that's another opportunity that we could work on for grants as well. Here's a side scan of the site. If you look, the kind of the big area right there in the center, that's the barge itself, and it sank in 1986. Those two other areas, fields, are concrete culverts that we deployed in 1999. And what we're planning on doing, and here this shows what's there. What we're planning on doing is we can use, is it 25% that we're using on that's the maximum we can put there. It's 40 acres that we've got in that permitted area, and we're proposing these type of materials, reef balls, the tetrahedrons, those grouper boxes, culverts, and the like. And we've got a lot of material here. This is the old Panacea Harbor dock that we've been storing for the last 3 years. So Ben Withers has it, and we were planning on taking this material, moving it offshore, and putting it in 24. So that's kind of some of the ideas we have. But anyway, you guys have any questions on what we've been doing? Or
They need official board action tonight?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And that's just for the advertising cost.
You
And
said you need the board to approve or to allow you to apply for it. Is that
Yes, sir.
exactly what you need?
yes, sir. And the only cost to the county is for the advertisement for the RFP.
Yeah, so we would need a motion and a...
So moved. Heather,
Second.
you okay?
I don't know what you're approving, so it's hard for me to.
Well, just to apply for the grant.
We're authorizing the board to allow them to apply for the grant.
Yeah, we're applying for a grant, and that's with the FWC Artificial Reef Program
Second
that they do.
I mean, it makes sense. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for the county.
I got a question. On your earlier slide, you had the reef as either being active or inactive.
Yes, sir.
What does that mean? Is there no fish on it or something?
The permits are active. We have a 10-year period. The Corps gives us 10 years basically for the permit, and those other ones are older ones that had expired. And
And then they could take them up, do they?
no, they don't. No.
But you can continue adding material during that time frame.
We
right?
can
Is that-
during that whole 10-year period we can add material
I
to
got
it, and so some of the older ones like 24, the way we had it permitted before, some of the material was outside because we were doing it by Loran, back in the 80s, and so it's not like the GPS coordinates now. Where we found out that some of the material was actually outside the permitted area, and it just happens. So we re-permitted a larger site, so now we've got a better fix on where it is using the side scan stuff that we had. I mean, that was, to me, this side scan imaging here, to be able to go and look at a site like that's just amazing. And FWC did this for us. The guys at the Artificial Reef Department went out and side scanned it and put it all together. And so, I mean, just to have that kind of information, we found out that there was some live bottom in the very southern part of it, which we're avoiding. But we're going to put, basically 4 patch reefs in here. Anyway.
Does FWC front the money, or is it a reimbursement grant?
It's reimbursement, yeah. Yeah, they reimburse the county.
So since the county is joining with you, is there any financial responsibility for the county, any clawback potential if you don't perform on the grant or anything like that?
That's a Bill question. What?
I just thought you just needed the board to allow you to apply.
Well, the grant will come back to the board for final approval.
Is that
and it's a
correct?
typical FWC grant.
For sure it will come back to
It'll
us?
come back to the board for approval. You have to approve that.
So my motion is simply
they
limited
have
to
paperwork.
allowing them to apply for it.
Yeah.
not to say we're going to pay for anything or accept any reimbursement grant.
You still have say over it. You can say yes or no to the grant. I mean, this is just allowing us to apply on behalf of Wakulla County. And then once you get the paperwork, you guys can say, well, we're not doing that, and back away from it. It doesn't obligate you to have to.
Yeah, it's
take
just
the
like
money.
we do the same thing. We apply for grants all the time that y'all don't know about, so. Until they come back.
I think we like it and support it. It's just, we just want to make sure we know.
Oh, of course, I understand.
Have you, and I second the motion, but just in the future, had they spoke with you about this, David? Is this news?
Talk to Sheree about it, and I'm gonna talk to her about getting an agenda
Okay.
item, yeah.
So we'll fix it in the future where it's a little more smoother for us, but. That
I understand.
sounds fine.
And I had sent, we'll send over the grant application. Bill's working on it. He's our consultant. And it's going to be 60 pages long. And they're a bear to put together, but, you know, that's what we're handling all that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
So since this wasn't on the agenda, it takes a 5-0 vote, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Next is Greg James.
Patty?
Evening, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I prepared a wonderful PowerPoint to cover those 19 pages that Commissioner Merritt's so
Patty, you set
interested
the buzzer?
in.
Okay.
At the last meeting, February 19th, you approved a fraud, waste, and abuse policy on the consent agenda, and I did not consider the fact that it being on consent, I wouldn't be able to announce it. And so you've passed a policy, and now the citizens don't know about it. And so that's the purpose of me speaking here, to let everyone know, all our citizens know, that we have a anonymous fraud, waste, and abuse hotline. The number is 850-926-0356. And anyone, employees or citizens, are encouraged to call that number if they have any concerns about fraud, waste, or abuse. And our office will investigate. If our office is not capable of doing so, or it's outside of our purview, the policy speaks to us turning that over to an agency or entity that can do it. So I just want to make that announcement, and thank you for passing that policy.
So anybody can call this? Me too?
Yes.
And is this limited to county waste, fraud, and abuse, or just any waste, fraud, and abuse you see anywhere?
County waste, fraud, waste, and abuse. The policy deals with, if it's a constitutional officer, the clerk's office doesn't have the purview to investigate that. We will turn that over to FDLE or the Attorney General or whatever the appropriate agency is. It doesn't include employment-related matters. It doesn't include a number of things. The policy lists those exceptions, but
So if someone calls the road department and say, hey, I saw one of your trucks over here at Dunkin' Donuts, because we used to get those calls all the time, you know, when people have to go to town, can they just refer them to your phone number now?
yes,
There you go.
926-0356.
Remember that, Nanette?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Greg.
It was usually Randy Merritt at Dunkin' Donuts.
No, I didn't have a county.
That was a long way to go to
Always
Dunkin'
ready.
Donuts.
Didn't have a county truck.
That's all the way in Tallahassee.
Yeah, so,
We have Karens now. You can stay down here.
exactly.
We get them all the time.
Yeah.
A county person's up here, he didn't know who it was, maybe it's somebody going to training, you know, from the property appraiser's office, but they call and say it was the road department.
Mm-hmm.
Poor things.
Okay. Now we're on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes 5-0. So, no general business, no public hearings, no planning and zoning. No commissioner items, so we're going to the second citizens to be heard.
David, you have? What about Heather?
County attorney.
Who wants to talk?
Okay.
Stop looking at the clock, Randy. I just have a couple brief announcements. I forwarded all of you a copy of the complaint or the petition that we filed in the administrative hearing regarding the permit for the fence at Lake Ellen. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out. I also forwarded to all of you a copy of our annual audit disclosure letter where we go through and summarize all the ongoing litigation that we're aware of and regulatory matters and any potential notices of claim that we've received. So if you have any questions about that, also just let me know and I'll get back with you.
Attorney? Is finished? Okay. County Administrator.
Yes, we have, Brandy's going to give you some numbers on what the Hurricane Michael.
Yes, a brief briefing on Hurricane Michael debris removal, which is now complete, and I'm wrapping up the process with DOT to get all the invoices approved. So throughout the process, for the monitoring services that oversees the contractor that does the removal, we spent almost $342,000 on the monitoring. The removal itself cost just over $900,000, so we're over $1.2 million for the cleanup recovery effort for just the debris removal. And everybody's aware that DOT stepped in and they are assisting the county, which is huge because that's a lot of cash to front out to a contractor and wait for FEMA reimbursement, as you know, can take a long time.
When you say we spent, we didn't physically spend it.
We didn't spend it. That's what it costs, and we've just turned those invoices over to DOT, and they've cut the check directly to the contractor. So it helped us out significantly, and I've sent them some very nice thank you letters, and so that's what we would have had to put out of pocket if they had not stepped in.
We fared a lot better than our other
Yes, and if you consider the amount of damage we had as opposed to the west.
Did they extend the deadline for debris pickup for the other counties?
Yes, at their request.
They were in a jam. I mean, big time.
They're still in a jam.
Yes. So that was my brief briefing.
Quick question. On forced account during hurricane response, we got reimbursed for that this time, right?
We should be getting reimbursed for it.
Because the county now runs the road department, right?
Yes.
Whereas before, we never got reimbursed for that. So
Yeah.
that's a large chunk of money that we'd never got before, right, in it?
We did get reimbursed for it, but that was one of those things we were getting ridiculed on from FEMA and from Florida PA, saying that, you know, they just didn't agree with it, and we're still doing a few battles with IRMA and the attorney trying to get them to not take that money back.
But what I'm
That's an
saying is,
argument
when we
every time.
privatized the public works, we really couldn't get paid back
That's
for
right.
forced overtime, all that other stuff.
We did, but it's they finally.
Now it's a lot easier.
FEMA said, yeah, that's it. No more.
Good. Thank you.
What about the private road debris cleanup that we did?
That's included in this over $1.2 million as well.
Nice. Thank you.
And Brandy did a most excellent job. We were the first county to actually have all our ducks in a row as far as the contracts and all that stuff. We were able to leap onto FDOT's offer with minimal effect, and that's all because of that lady right there.
Very good at putting ducks in rows.
In fact, DOT actually used our contracts for other counties around here who had not already procured.
Good.
Impressive.
Good.
I remember
Wakulla leads the way as usual.
years ago, after a dentist, I think, is when we decided to have a debris contractor on their count, because what we went through dentists, we didn't have anybody and had to hustle.
Anyway, that's all I've got.
That's it. All right, citizen to be heard, Chris Russell.
Good evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Just a couple of things real quick. Your last meeting was 18 minutes. This one depends. If I go all 3 minutes, we'll be at 27 minutes. I think it's advantageous to look at maybe moving the meeting back to 5:30. Allow a little easier for folks coming from town to come down here and have a say. So if you'll consider that, that'd be great. Second thing, and two presentations tonight really took up the majority of the meeting, so we probably could have beaten the 18 minutes just to be. I'm saying two predominantly took it. Really one, the or was the most on it. Brandy was quick, to the point, and I'm going to try to be the same. On that note, Heather just mentioned Lake Ellen. I think you're at a position now where you have a win-win. I think the property owner won on his rights. I think the citizens won on their access rights. Going forward, challenging that, spending more money on that. I think that's a waste at this point. I'm not sure how much else you're going to gain. You got 10 feet right now. You might get 15. You might not. So I would ask you to look at that carefully, see if it's somewhere where you could be happy with the settlement. Obviously, it's not the way a lot of people want to go, but I think at this point right now, we are at a point where it's basically a win-win, and we could just drop it right now and move forward. So that's it. If you'll look at maybe 5:30 sometime, and I would like to say this, thanks for all y'all do. Thanks for answering the calls and whatnot. Appreciate it.
Good to see you again, sir.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay. Commissioner discussion items. Commissioner Merritt. you've got a
Emergency
couple
room
of-
service. I couldn't help but notice in Southwood, they're building a standalone emergency room there. So I called David and, I know we looked at that a while ago, looking at, because I think emergency room service in Wakulla would be a huge advantage for our county, and it helped Franklin County a lot too. So all I'm asking on this is, can we authorize David to negotiate with either TMH or TCH,
Or Capital Regional.
whoever, and try to bring back some sort of deal to get an emergency room service in Wakulla, be it tax incentives, whatever. I'm not saying give him approval to, offer those and approve them, but
Bring a
try
deal back.
to put together a deal so we can have an emergency room for our citizens. Is everybody okay with letting him?
Idea?
Absolutely.
I just think it, and you may get Franklin County's buy-in on it, because that saved them from having to, because their hospital's closed down in Appalachia now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So they got to drive from Appalachia to Tallahassee in an emergency. Even if it's not a trauma care, just,
Well, we also looked at dialysis, offering dialysis and a couple other MRIs and stuff like that, so folks didn't have to go all the way to Tallahassee for that.
some simple
Yeah.
procedures, emergency room, to save a lot of trips and ambulances and stuff like that.
We got Mike's economic development thing that was passed by the voters in 2012. I don't think anyone's ever taken
Taken
advantage of that
advantage of it.
at all. And I think it'll sunset in 2022, right?
I don't know.
Well, he might could offer to waive tangible personal property tax or
Yeah.
whatever
Well, let's
property.
just, we'll just have to
Have
get
to-
the deal.
Direct him to do it anyway. FDOT, David, this is, Mike, we've been
We need
worried
a
for...
motion on that?
No, just a head nod, I think. it's
Okay.
fine. We sweated for years worrying about having to pay for moving that sewer. Remember when they were four-laying that road? How much did DOT reimbursing us?
It's gonna be 1.7.
They're not reimbursing, they're just paying
They-
out of their pocket.
Yeah.
Remember how much I worried about that? I think I wrote a memo in 2000 saying, hey, guys, we need to start saving up for this. It's going to be a major expense. But DOT
That's
has
just-
stepped up, and they're paying out of their pocket to relocate our sewer that we're responsible for relocating. So
That's just the first leg, too.
that's just the first leg. They relocated our water lines, 1.7 million for sewer lines. I'm not saying I'm taking credit for it, although I just did, but I did. Philip Gaynor did ask me when he first got appointed DOT secretary, what does Wakulla need? And I said, the biggest thing we need is help paying for that sewer relocation, because that's a lot of money. I don't know if I told you or not, I got elected CRTPA vice chair again, so I'll be chair again. I don't think, Mike, Waco ever had a representative that was chair of the CRTPA?
I was the first representative on it.
Yeah. So I'll come next time, I'll be chair a second time, so that's good for our county.
Good.
And while I'm on CRTPA, I always bellyache, just to tell you some of the things I bellyache about, is Crawfordville Highway from where 61 comes in up to Capitol Circle looks like crap. It always does. They don't mow the grass, they don't use Roundup, which they should, right, Chuck?
No.
Kill the weeds. Anyway, I always complain about it. That's the gateway from Tallahassee to Wakulla County. For most people is 319. And it looks great when you get into Wakulla County. It looks great when you take a right on Capitol Circle and go past Southwood. But the part south of Capitol Circle, where everybody comes into our county, just they don't take care of it. The state's in charge. I tried to get the Leon County or the city to take it over for maintenance. I don't know how good that's going to go. I asked Summer to talk to her husband, who's the Leon County Public Works Director, and he said he's going to call DOT, and I've been calling them. It's Bryant Polk is the new liaison, but anyway, that's the kind of things. I think I bellyache about it every meeting. It just, they got sidewalks, they don't maintain them. It looks bad. That's all I got.
Commissioner Smith?
I have nothing.
Nothing tonight.
Just one thing, I'm not sure this is the proper place to do it, but I talked to Summer about the old H.T. Adams service station over here. It's really an eyesore. And I don't mind you putting my name on it as a complaint, but we need to do something about it. It's a mess, and I think it's full of asbestos, and it's an eyesore for our county.
I'll tell you what you may want to suggest to the property owners. I know that there's a brownfield grant.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
That was thinking
Hadn't it
about
already been identified as a Brownsfield?
Possibly.
Well, they
Very
won't
possibly.
pay to clean it up, but they will pay to get these studies done, so it'll be a lot easier to sell it.
That's fine. All I'm asking is that the county push whoever that is, the landowner, they've got to do something with the building. Demolish it, dig a hole and bury
Falling
it,
in.
haul it away. I don't care what they do with it. It needs to go away.
Isn't the state getting most of that for the road?
That's in the look area.
I mean, you're talking about eyesores, gateways. I mean, when
Yeah.
you come through Crawfordville, you look at that mess. It's like we're a dilapidated town that it's a mess, and that's
Yeah.
not what we want our downtown to look like. So, anyway.
I'll tell you something else I've been thinking about since we're just on the discussion. We talked at one time about having like a signature thing for Crawfordville town. We talked about a fence at one time, and I'm really digging the idea of palmetto bushes.
You ain't gonna get my vote there.
You don't like palmettos?
No.
You can't kill them, you can't burn them.
You're right. They'll burn, but they come right back.
Yeah.
You ride out in the woods all you want to, Randy. You'll get all you want.
What about mimosas or
No, don't go there.
I'm just trying to think of a cheap plant because it grows in the forest, but anyway.
Cheap plant that'll get started quickly and forms a pretty strong hedge. So it is one way to go.
Think about it, Mike. Live oaks and palmettos. Can't kill them.
Well, you can kill them, but
You got to try hard to
gotta
kill
try hard. I've been requesting reports from our, the councils, the park board that I'm wondering when that's going to happen.
Jessica's made the request to all those committees, and nobody's stepping up to the plate.
They're all volunteer committees,
Yeah,
right?
all volunteer committees.
So
They have been noticed, and they've been asked, all that stuff. We can't force them.
You can go to the meetings.
Yeah.
I have done that, Chuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I have.
Well,
It would be nice, but
it would be nice to hear what
I
they're
agree.
talking about and discuss it here on the board, but
I agree.
it's just-
I've tried that in years past too, and it hadn't worked. But so I just
Yeah.
settled to go myself and listen to see what they had to say. But
okay,
motion to adjourn.
and we're adjourned.